7 boundaries awakened women. Never let anyone cross again. After awakening, a woman stops begging for respect. She becomes it. Each boundary she sets is a line between peace and chaos. Stay till the end. The last one is what most women never master. Sacred energy. Observe the flow of a river, the unwavering force that carves canyons and nourishes landscapes. Yet, even a mighty river can be diverted, its energy siphoned, its life force diminished if its banks are not defined. Your personal energy, your vital life force, is no different. It is the river of your being, and an awakened woman understands its sanctity. She recognizes that this energy is not an endless, renewable resource to be carelessly expended or passively absorbed by the demands and desires of others. No, it is the fuel for her purpose, the essence of her presence, the very currency of her creative spirit. To allow it to be indiscriminately drained is to allow a slow erosion of self, a dimming of the inner light that guides her path. This boundary begins with a profound self-awareness. It starts with learning to feel, truly feel, where your energy flows and where it is being taken. Consider the conversations that leave you depleted, the interactions that feel heavy, the relationships that consistently demand without offering reciprocity. These are not merely challenging moments. They are subtle siphons on your energetic reserves. The awakened woman learns to discern these subtle shifts. She notices the tightening in her chest, the sudden fatigue, the urge to withdraw, not as weaknesses, but as clear signals from her inner compass, guiding her back to the sanctuary of self-preservation. This discernment is not a luxury. It is a fundamental act of self-love, a necessary discipline in cultivating a robust internal ecosystem. The world will always present opportunities for your energy to be consumed. There will be friends who endlessly vent without seeking solutions, colleagues who constantly offload their responsibilities, family members who lean on you as their primary emotional support. The unconscious response is often to absorb, to fix, to solve, driven by an ingrained desire to be helpful, to be loved, to avoid conflict. But the awakened woman understands that true help is not self-immolation. It is not becoming a vessel for others' unprocessed emotions. She understands that by protecting her energy, she maintains the capacity to truly serve, to truly contribute from a place of abundance, not depletion. She learns to offer a listening ear without becoming a dumping ground, to offer support without taking ownership of another's journey. This boundary means saying no, not from a place of selfishness, but from a place of integrity. It means declining invitations that don't align with your deepest needs for rest or rejuvenation. It means setting clear expectations in relationships, communicating when you are not available for emotional labor or when you need space to replenish. This is not a rejection of others. It is an affirmation of self. It is the understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup and that your highest service to the world comes when you are full, when your inner river flows unimpeded, vibrant, and strong. When you honor your sacred energy, you become a beacon, not a sponge. You radiate vitality rather than absorbing the shadows of others. This is the first and perhaps most vital non-negotiable. Time's cadence. Time. It is the most democratic and unforgiving of all resources. Each sunrise grants us the same 24 hours, yet how we orchestrate those hours shapes the very fabric of our existence. For the unconscious, time is a passive recipient, a vast expanse to be filled by external demands, reactive responses, and the unexamined urgencies of others. But for the awakened woman, time is a sacred canvas, a finite and precious medium upon which she paints the masterpiece of her life. She recognizes that to cede control of her time is to cede control of her destiny, to allow the currents of external influence to pull her off course, away from her deepest purpose and personal fulfillment. This boundary is about intentionality, about understanding that every yes to an external demand is a no to something within your own sphere of influence. Consider the relentless ding of notifications, the cascade of emails, the urgent requests that hijack your focus and fragment your day. Each interruption, no matter how small, exacts a tax on your cognitive energy, pulling you away from the deep work, the creative flow, the quiet reflection that truly nurtures your spirit and propels your growth. The awakened woman learns to become the architect of her own schedule rather than a mere passenger in the schedules dictated by others. She understands that protecting her focus is protecting her future. This means establishing clear parameters. It involves carving out dedicated blocks of uninterrupted time for deep work, for creative endeavors, for self-care, for simply being. It means communicating these boundaries clearly to those around her, not as rigid rules, but as an expression of her commitment to her own flourishing. I will respond to emails after this concentrated work period. My mornings are reserved for quiet contemplation and movement. I am unavailable for calls during these hours. These are not acts of exclusion, they are acts of inclusion, including herself, her needs, her aspirations, into the very framework of her daily life. This requires courage, for the world often rewards constant availability and immediate responsiveness, perpetuating a culture of urgency that is antithetical to deep presence and meaningful contribution. Furthermore, this boundary extends to the silent thieves of time, endless scrolling, mindless consumption, the allure of constant distraction. The awakened woman recognizes these as subtle forms of self-abandonment, ways in which she allows her precious moments to dissipate without conscious direction. She cultivates the discipline of presence, choosing to engage deeply with what truly matters and consciously disengaging from what does not. This is not about productivity for its own sake, but about aligning her daily actions with her highest values and deepest desires. When you master time's cadence, you move with a rhythm that is uniquely yours, a rhythm that supports your inner harmony and allows you to manifest your true potential unburdened by the cacophony of external demands. Core values. Every structure, be it a magnificent temple or a humble dwelling, rests upon a foundation. If that foundation is weak, shifting, or built upon compromised ground, the entire edifice is vulnerable. So too are the lives we build. Your core values, your fundamental principles, your deepest beliefs about what is true, good, and right form the very bedrock of your being. For an unconscious individual, these values can be fluid, swayed by external opinions, societal pressures, or the desire for approval. But for the awakened woman, her core values are immutable North Stars, guiding her decisions, anchoring her identity, and defining her integrity. To allow these to be crossed, to compromise them, is to invite a profound internal discord, a fracturing of self that leaves her adrift. This boundary is about unwavering authenticity. It requires a deep, introspective journey to truly identify what you stand for, what you believe, what principles are non-negotiable in your existence. Is it honesty, compassion, freedom, courage, justice, growth? Once identified, these values become the filters through which every opportunity, every relationship, every decision is processed. An awakened woman does not allow herself to be coerced, manipulated, or subtly shamed into violating these deeply held tenets, no matter the perceived cost. The cost of internal compromise, she understands, is always far greater. Consider the subtle pressures that arise in social settings, in professional environments, even within intimate relationships. The pressure to conform, to participate in gossip, to compromise ethical standards for a perceived advantage, to remain silent when injustice unfolds. For the unconscious, these moments are often met with compliance, driven by a fear of rejection, a desire for acceptance, or a misguided notion of keeping the peace. But the peace achieved through self-betrayal is a false peace, a hollow victory that leaves a bitter taste in the soul. The awakened woman knows this. She recognizes that true peace, true self-respect, arises from an unshakable alignment with her inner truth. This boundary means having the courage to walk away from situations, relationships, or opportunities that demand you diminish your light, silence your truth, or violate your integrity. It means speaking up, not aggressively, but with clarity and conviction, when a situation conflicts with what you know to be right. It means choosing the path of authenticity, even when it is the harder path, even when it means standing alone. This is not about arrogance. It is about self-reverence. When you hold firm to your core values, you cultivate an inner resilience that cannot be shaken by external storms. You become a living embodiment of your truth, radiating a quiet strength that inspires rather than seeking approval. Your life becomes a testament to what you truly stand for, and in that unwavering stance, you find an unassailable freedom. Emotional sovereignty. Imagine a clear, still lake reflecting the sky with perfect clarity. This is the natural state of your emotional landscape when unburdened. Now imagine that lake becoming a receptacle for every stone, every ripple, every piece of debris thrown by passers-by. This is what happens when you surrender your emotional sovereignty. For the unconscious individual, emotions are often experienced as external forces, reactions to circumstances, or projections from others that must be absorbed, managed, or fixed. But for the awakened woman, emotions are understood as internal signals, messengers from her own depth, and she fiercely protects her right to experience and process them without external interference, manipulation, or ownership. This boundary is about understanding that while empathy allows you to feel with another, it does not mean taking on their feelings as your own. It means recognizing that you are not responsible for another person's emotional reactions, nor are you a dumping ground for their unprocessed pain. Consider the friend who constantly complains but refuses to take action, the partner who blames you for their unhappiness, the family member who uses guilt to manipulate your choices. These are attempts to externalize their emotional burden, to project their inner chaos onto your calm surface. The unconscious response is often to absorb, to apologize, to try to fix, driven by a deep-seated desire to alleviate suffering or to restore harmony. But in doing so, you dilute your own emotional clarity and take on a weight that is not yours to carry. The awakened woman learns to differentiate between compassion and codependency. She offers a compassionate presence, a listening ear, but she does not allow herself to be consumed by the emotional storms of others. She understands that each individual is responsible for their own emotional processing, their own healing journey. This boundary manifests as a clear internal distinction. I can feel for you, but I cannot feel instead of you. Your pain is real and I honor it, but it is not my pain to carry. This requires immense self-awareness and a willingness to sit with the discomfort of another's emotions without feeling the need to immediately soothe, fix, or take responsibility. Furthermore, this sovereignty extends to protecting your own emotional experience from invalidation or dismissal. If you feel joy, you do not allow another's cynicism to dim it. If you feel sadness, you do not allow another's discomfort to shame you into suppressing it. Your feelings are valid expressions of your inner world, and you have an inherent right to experience them fully without judgment from others. This means choosing to remove yourself from environments that consistently invalidate your emotional reality, or from relationships that demand you suppress your authentic feelings for the sake of their comfort. When you reclaim your emotional sovereignty, you become a still point in a turbulent world. You gain the capacity to navigate your own inner landscape with grace and to engage with others from a place of clear, compassionate, and unboundaried presence. Growth trajectory. Imagine a sapling reaching for the sun, its roots stretching deep, its leaves unfurling, with an inherent drive to grow, to expand, to become the magnificent tree it is destined to be. This drive for evolution, for continuous becoming, is encoded within your very being. For the unconscious individual, this natural trajectory can be stunted by the fear of change, the comfort of stagnation, or the subtle pressures of those who wish to keep them small, familiar, and within the confines of their past identity. But for the awakened woman, her personal growth journey is a sacred, non-negotiable imperative. To allow anyone to impede this trajectory, to dismiss her aspirations, or to anchor her to who she once was, is to deny her very essence. This boundary is about fiercely protecting your right to evolve, to learn, to make mistakes, to reinvent yourself as many times as necessary. It requires an unwavering belief in your own capacity for transformation. Even when others around you may not share that vision, consider the well-meaning friend who says, "But you've always been this way," when you express a desire for change. The family member who subtly reminds you of your past failures, implying you are not capable of new successes. The partner who feels threatened by your expanding consciousness, preferring the familiar version of you, even if that version is no longer serving your highest self. These are not always malicious acts. Often they stem from their own fears, their own comfort with the known, their own desire for predictability. But their comfort must never come at the expense of your evolution. The awakened woman understands that her growth is not a threat to others, but an invitation for them to rise. However, if they choose not to rise, she will not shrink to accommodate their resistance. She learns to lovingly, yet firmly, disengage from narratives that seek to define her by her past or to limit her future potential. She understands that her identity is not static. It is a dynamic, ever-unfolding process. She will not tolerate criticism that is not constructive, but rather aims to undermine her self-belief or her pursuit of new knowledge and skills. She creates a sanctuary around her aspirations, shielding them from cynicism, doubt, and the well-intentioned but limiting perspectives of others. This boundary means having the courage to venture into unknown territories, to embrace discomfort as a sign of progress, and to shed the skins of old identities that no longer fit. It means seeking out environments, communities, and relationships that celebrate your growth, that challenge you to expand, and that resonate with the highest vision you hold for yourself. It means recognizing that true love, true friendship, true partnership will always champion your evolution, even if it means outgrowing certain aspects of the relationship itself. When you protect your growth trajectory, you become an unstoppable force of nature, continuously blossoming, continuously expanding, becoming a testament to the limitless potential of the human spirit. Your life becomes a living demonstration that stagnation is a choice and that conscious evolution is the truest path to fulfillment. Body wisdom. Your body. It is the vessel for your spirit, the temple of your consciousness, the most intimate home you will ever inhabit on this earthly journey. For the unconscious individual, the body can often be treated as a mere utility, a machine to be driven, a form to be judged, or an object to be consumed by external gaze. But for the awakened woman, her body is a sacred instrument, a repository of ancient wisdom, and a powerful conduit for her intuition. To allow its boundaries to be violated, its needs to be ignored, or its autonomy to be questioned, is to sever a vital connection to her own deepest knowing. This boundary is about revering your physical being, listening to its subtle signals, and honoring its inherent needs for rest, nourishment, movement, and touch. It means recognizing that your body is not a battleground to be conquered, but a partner to be cherished and consulted. Consider the pervasive societal pressures that dictate how your body should look, how much it should weigh, how much pain it should endure without complaint. These external narratives often override the body's own gentle whispers, leading to exhaustion, illness, and a profound disconnect from self. The unconscious response is often to push harder, to conform, to silence the body's cries in pursuit of an external ideal. But the awakened woman understands that true well-being begins with deep internal attunement. This means establishing an unwavering respect for your physical space and autonomy. It means saying no to unwanted touch, to intrusive questions about your physical appearance, to demands on your energy that leave you depleted. It means cultivating a relationship with food that is guided by nourishment, not by deprivation or external rules. It means moving your body in ways that bring joy and strength, not just to achieve an aesthetic goal. This is not about vanity, it is about vitality. It is about understanding that a healthy, honored body is the foundation for a vibrant, engaged life and a clear channel for your intuition to flow. When you silence your body, you silence a part of your soul. Furthermore, this boundary extends to the energetic space surrounding your physical form. An awakened woman becomes highly attuned to how certain energies, certain proximities, certain interactions make her body feel. She notices the subtle tension, the instinctive recoil, the feeling of being crowded. She trusts these physical cues as valid indicators of what serves her and what does not. This is not about being overly sensitive, it is about being finely tuned. She will create physical space when she needs it. She will retreat when her system feels overwhelmed, and she will choose environments and people that feel energetically aligned and respectful. When you honor your body's wisdom, you align with the ancient rhythm of life itself. You create an inner sanctuary where your spirit can reside in peace and your truest self can express itself with uninhibited freedom. Authentic expression. Consider a clear mountain spring bubbling forth from the earth, its waters pure, unburdened, flowing freely. This is the natural state of your authentic expression. For the unconscious individual, this spring can become dammed, its flow diverted, its waters muddied by the fear of judgment, the desire to please, or the learned habit of silencing one's true voice. But for the awakened woman, her authentic expression is an innate right, a non-negotiable aspect of her being. To allow it to be suppressed, distorted, or undervalued is to deny the very essence of her unique contribution to the world. This boundary is about claiming your voice, your perspective, your creative impulse, and refusing to diminish it for the comfort or convenience of others. It requires a deep dive into self-acceptance, embracing all facets of who you are, your strengths, your quirks, your vulnerabilities, your unconventional thoughts. Consider the situations where you have held back your opinion, edited your truth to fit in, or bitten your tongue to avoid conflict. These are subtle acts of self-betrayal, small erosions of your authentic self that accumulate over time, leading to a feeling of unseenness, of being unheard, of a vibrant inner world that remains largely unexpressed. The unconscious response is often to censor, to chameleon, to seek external validation by mirroring what others want to see or hear. But the awakened woman understands that her unique frequency is her power. This means having the courage to speak your truth, even when your voice shakes, even when it might be unpopular, even when it challenges the status quo. It means sharing your ideas, your art, your insights, your passions without waiting for permission or external approval. It means setting boundaries around conversations that attempt to silence you, to invalidate your experiences, or to dismiss your perspective. It is not about being aggressive or argumentative. It is about being genuinely present and open in your communication, while steadfastly refusing to be diminished or unseen. This requires a profound trust in your own value, independent of how others perceive it. Furthermore, this boundary extends to protecting your creative impulses and your unique way of navigating the world. If you are an artist, you will protect your creative time. If you are a visionary, you will protect your ideas from premature judgment or cynical dismissal. If you are an unconventional thinker, you will protect your space to explore and innovate. The awakened woman recognizes that her authentic expression is not merely for her own benefit. It is a gift to the world, a unique thread in the tapestry of human experience. When you reclaim your authentic expression, you unlock a profound wellspring of creativity, joy, and purpose. You become a beacon of truth, inspiring others not by perfection, but by the raw, beautiful courage of simply being yourself, fully and unreservedly. Inner wisdom. Now, we arrive at the seventh and most profound boundary, the one that underpins all others, the wellspring from which all true strength emerges. This is the boundary around your inner wisdom, your intuition, that quiet, knowing voice that resides beneath the clamor of the world and the chatter of the mind. For the unconscious individual, this inner voice is often drowned out, dismissed as irrational, or overridden by external authority, societal expectations, and the opinions of others. But for the awakened woman, her inner wisdom is the ultimate compass, the sacred oracle, and she will never again allow external noise or doubt to usurp its supreme authority. This boundary is about cultivating an unwavering trust in your own deepest knowing. It requires a commitment to stillness, to listening, to discerning the subtle whispers of your intuition from the louder, more urgent demands of the ego, fear, or external pressures. Consider the times you had a gut feeling about a person or a situation, a clear internal signal that you then ignored because a friend offered a compelling counter-argument, a parent expressed disapproval, or a societal norm dictated otherwise. In hindsight, how often did you find that your initial intuition was correct? These are the moments where this boundary was breached, where external voices were allowed to override your profound internal guidance system. The awakened woman understands that while advice from others can be valuable, it must always be filtered through the lens of her own inner truth. She seeks counsel, she gathers information, but the final decisive authority always rests within her own heart and intuition. This means having the courage to make choices that may not be understood or approved of by others because they align with her deepest sense of rightness. It means trusting her instincts even when they seem illogical to the rational mind, because she has cultivated a profound relationship with this deeper intelligence. She recognizes that her intuition is not flawed logic. It is a higher form of knowing, a direct connection to universal wisdom. Furthermore, this boundary requires diligent protection of your inner silence. In a world saturated with information, distraction, and constant external stimuli, the space for inner listening is increasingly rare. The awakened woman intentionally carves out moments of solitude, of quiet contemplation, of meditation, to recalibrate her inner compass and to strengthen the signal of her intuition. She understands that the noise of the world, if left unchecked, can easily drown out the subtle guidance she needs to navigate her path with authenticity and grace. When you protect your inner wisdom, you become unshakable. You move through life with a profound sense of clarity, purpose, and unassailable self-trust. You are no longer swayed by the winds of external opinion, but guided by the steady, unwavering light of your own awakened consciousness, leading you exactly where you are meant to be. This is the ultimate reclamation of self, the cornerstone of true freedom. And so we arrive at the culmination. These 7 boundaries are not fences to keep the world out, but clear definitions of your sacred inner landscape. They are declarations of self-worth, acts of self-reverence, and the very protocols by which an awakened woman aligns her external life with her internal truth. By honoring your sacred energy, commanding your time's cadence, standing firm in your core values, reclaiming emotional sovereignty, fiercely protecting your growth trajectory, revering your body wisdom, and, most crucially, safeguarding your inner wisdom, you do not just survive the world, you thrive within it. You become a living testament to the power of conscious living, an unwavering beacon of authenticity and profound presence. This is not a journey for the faint of heart, but it is the only path to true freedom, true joy, and true self-mastery. The choice, as always, is yours. Which boundary resonates most deeply with you today? The one you feel called to strengthen first? Drop your choice below. Let's inspire each other.